Welcome to my ready room. I'm Murdoch, this is 5-Man Trek, and I have 5 minutes to give you the rundown on a Star Trek vessel. Today we're going to look at the Ambassador class, that kind of weird missing link ship on the development tree they had to come up with in TNG to explain the jump from Kirk's Enterprise to Picard's. The Ambassador class was designed to be a replacement for the then aging fleet of Excelsior and Constellation class vessels which had been in service for well over 3 decades, and to create a true frontline heavy cruiser. Between 2325 and 2360, the Ambassador-class heavy cruisers were the primary capital ships of Starfleet until 2372, when Starfleet stopped production of these ships in favor of larger, more resilient Galaxy-class. The prototype of the class, the USS Ambassador, had its first testbed trials at Hellespont Station near Senkethi Space in 2319. It's generally assumed that this was an intimidation tactic against the volatile Senkethi coalition, seeing as how it doesn't matter how nice we try and play with them, most of the time, they just seem to only understand one way for us to ask them to play nice. Several other vessels of the Ambassador line would be commissioned in the 2320s and shortly thereafter. The Enterprise C would come in the following decade. Enterprise C was commissioned and launched in 2332 under the command of Captain Rachel Garrett, and would meet its untimely demise in 2344, responding to a distress call from a Klingon outpost on Narendra 3. This particular sequence of events would be an important event in the Prime timeline, as Enterprise C had warped into the hot mess of a Romulan attack on the outpost. This was a doomed fight, however, and everyone who experienced the Kobayashi Maru knew what would happen next, as the Enterprise C would be fighting against no less than 4 Romulan warbirds, where it would meet its untimely end. This honorable sacrifice would be viewed with the utmost respect and leave a lasting impression on the Klingon High Council, and cement a KDF Starfleet alliance that would last until the early 25th century. However, before that could happen, timeline-altering shenanigans, my best guess is Temple Cold War stuff, things get a bit weird from here. Partway through her losing battle, somehow Enterprise C gets sent forward through time, 22 years or so, where it's discovered by an alternate timeline, Enterprise D. In that timeline, well, there's a long, drawn-out, nasty war of attrition going on, one that could have been prevented by the actions of Enterprise C, in which it was in the process of carrying out. Some unpleasant events happen, which can be seen in the TNG episode Yesterday's Enterprise, and we get this epic line delivered.
Attention all hands. As you know, we could outrun the Klingon vessels, but we must protect the Enterprise C until she enters the temporal rift. And we must succeed. Let's make sure that history never forgets the name Enterprise.
In Star Trek Online, things get turned on their head yet again, as you, the player captain, set out on your vessel to study an anomalous chronoton reading in the Azure Nebula in 2409. And we find ourselves deeper in this alternate timeline. The short version here is the Federation lost that war with the Klingons, the Dominion invaded through the Bajoran wormhole, and then they entered a non-aggression pact with the Tholians. With the help of other temporally displaced officers, Enterprise C was able to escape and return to its own time. Aside from the Prime timeline being restored, we also got Sela. Sela is a hell of a special case. Okay, enemies in my present day aside, other notable ships of the line include the Horatio, Yamaguchi, Excalibur, and Zukov. The Yamaguchi was one of the many vessels that participated and was destroyed in the Battle of Wolf 359. While the Zhukov is noteworthy because she was William Riker's first assignment out of Starfleet Academy. The Ambassador class, even though no more were being produced by 2372, would still be in service for some time afterward. After a few refits and retrofits, of course. And the shipbuilders at Utopia Planitia would ultimately develop 3 modernized subclass variants of the Ambassador, named after either particular ships or places I may have mentioned before. The Horatio subclass, the Narendra subclass, and the Yamaguchi subclass. Alright, so with the history lesson out of the way, what was she packing? How did she handle? Well, for not being in a Galaxy class, the Ambassador class was in the same ballpark at least, in terms of size, being roughly 82% the size and mass of a Galaxy class ship, capable of casual cruising speeds at Warp 7, and later models and refits could hold a crew complement of 900 pers compared to the original 700. The standard armaments on an Ambassador class included 10 Type 9 phaser arrays and 2 torpedo launchers. Ships of the line also carried an assortment of shuttlecraft, as they would be used primarily in exploration and emissarial missions. That's it for this episode. I'll see you in the next one.